call turkeys.
Turkeys, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
But what they do,
But what they do is a call
is a call.
to action. We're able to wear our camo.
Because they were there.
We love what we do.
But we honor.
But we honor what they do. We're turkey thugs.
Turkey thugs.
Today's hunters united for good.
We're turkey thugs.
Turkey thugs. Are you?
Are you?
Mossy Oaks Turkey Thugs is brought to you by Walmart. Be sure to look for your Turkey Thug gear at your local Walmart. Every sale supports the Outdoor Recreation Heritage Fund. Be a hero. Thank a hero.
Section 1, question 11.
Is it easier to call a gobbler uphill or downhill?
Personally, myself, I'd rather try to call one uphill.
Bubba Bruce. Just Bubba.
If you get a turkey that's already up on top, say, of a ridge or a mountain, this, that, and other, he's looking down. He can see everything that he's looking for. Whereas if you're on top of the ridge or top of the mountain and he's below you, you can call him up, and you got to be aware, because his whole body's usually not going to come up the top. You're going to see his little head just kind of pop up over the hill. But yeah, I prefer calling uphill more than downhill.
You know, the last 2 years, I've been a regional manager for the Mossy Oak pro staff for Wisconsin, Iowa, and Minnesota on the whitetail side. Probably the best thing about that pro staff is the people that you get to meet. You know, had the guys up here from the Thugs this weekend, got to meet Keith and Bubba. And
back in February at the NWTF convention, Mossy Oak pro staff, Perry Peterson, we were sitting around just discussing some stuff in places we'd hunted, and he asked me, he said, you know, had I ever come to Iowa and hunted? I said, no, it's a state I'd love to come hunt. So he said, well, we'll see what we can do. Maybe we can get a couple camera guys up there and make a hunt.
Be my first chance to be in the Midwest hunting turkey, some of these big easterns they have up here. And I made my way up here and showed up at camp on a Tuesday afternoon, and we got after it first thing Wednesday morning.
you know, it's just people like that, you know, John and Joe White behind the cameras. I mean, it's fun to meet people that have the same interests and, you know, like to do the same things that you do.
Well, the first morning we got, I think we all left here about 6:15, 6:30, and we went to a place and we set up, and I mean, shortly after we set up, there was a turkey gobble, I mean, directly behind us. And we had a big pasture out in front of us, and he said most of the time that's where the turkeys would pitch out. So, we were all startled because we were really close to the turkey. And so we said, you know, it looks like we're gonna get lucky this morning. When the turkeys, when they got ready to pitch out, instead of coming to the field, they pitched actually straight down and then walked up the side of this big rock bank up here. We elected to come on back. Instead of spooking the turkey, we came on back to camp, got us a bite to eat, and got a plan for the next morning.
Mossy Oaks Turkey Thugs is brought to you by Walmart, Mossberg, Federal Ammunition, Sheffield Financial, National Wild Turkey Federation, and by Mossy Oak Brand Camo.
Section 1, question 11.
Is it easier to call a gobbler uphill or downhill?
It's by far easier to call a gobbler uphill than downhill.
Paul Butsky, the original turkey thug.
you got to put yourself in a situation. Let's say you're hunting, you're walking a ridge top, you're walking the top of that ridge, and you're scanning down below you, you look down below you, you can see a lot better than if you were on the bottom looking up. And the same thing with a gobbler. If a gobbler's in a position where he's above you, he's going to be a little bit more reluctant to come down to you. So if you're got the upper hand and you're above him, it's a much better situation because gobblers have a tendency to want to come up instead of go down because it's all positioning. It's all putting yourself in that right spot. That's the key to it.
The one thing these guys failed to tell me, Perry and Tim and them, my idea of coming up here was I thought we were hunting some flat ground. I mean, the first morning we take off up this hill, they call them hills, I'd call it a mountain. It was a pretty good hike. I was in for a rude awakening. It should have gotten a little better shape, I think.
Last time we heard him gobble, he was right down in there, wasn't he?
And it sounded to me like he was just across that valley.
On the other ridge,
just on the other side of that creek.
Can we get set up here somewhere?
I think it opens up a little bit up in here. I think we need to sneak up here.
Okay, go ahead.
And it's pretty open hardwood bottom, so we had to be a little careful about how we slipped around there, kind of using the terrain, the hillside and all that to get in a little closer.
I think right in here would be the best spot to try to call him up. If we get in there too far, he's just over the creek on that other hillside.
Let's see if we can get him to gobble. You know that.
We got set up in a fairly open spot, pretty hardwood on the edge of this ridge, and started working the bird, and it took a little while. He was actually on the other ridge. We had a bottom between us and him. He was up the other ridge, but as the crow flies, probably only like say 175 yards from us.
Down on the bottom now. Should work his way right on up here.
Mossy Oaks Turkey Thugs is brought to you by Walmart.
What should you do after flight when the gobbler that was sounding off like crazy has just shut up? Chances are you're set up at a gobbler that simply moved away with his hens. This is most often the case. Some people think that their calling was bad or they were spotted. 9 times out of 10, it's just the hens that are the problem. There are several things to do once you're convinced a gobbler has moved away. Try to keep a gobbler sounding off so you can determine what direction the group is headed. Try to get in front of the flock and cut them off. If you scouted the area ahead of time, you may have a good idea of the direction they're headed. It could be a field, a favorite ridge, or maybe even a pasture. If the turkeys get away clean, leave the area, come back a few hours later. Try to find a loud, sharp call to provoke a response from a gobbler. A high-pitched box, a tube call, or maybe even a loud slate call or an aggressive mouth call. This can serve as a good locator. Remember, as the morning goes on, hens may leave that gobbler, and your chances of calling him in get better and better. So hang in there as long as possible.
Save money, live better. Walmart.
Got him fired up a little bit and he started moving our way. He had to go all the way to the bottom and then work his way back up.
Down there in the bottom now. Should work his way right on up here.
And as they typically do, the closer he got, the quieter he got, and he'd gobble every now and then. And
there he goes, there he goes.
Finally come on in and begin to work his way in, and
He's going back to the right.
he got in there close enough, probably 50 to 60 yards, and saw the decoys. We tried a Jake and hen decoy out, and he wasn't real comfortable with the decoy setup, so he finally, with a little encouragement, come on in there probably 35 yards and then just started kind of skirting around the decoys.
You gotta get past that tree.
And got in a good open spot for a shot, and you could tell he was getting a little antsy, a little nervous. He was ready to walk off. And
right, I'm gonna take him.
We had a good open window to shoot in, took the shot and killed the turkey, and had my first Midwestern Eastern on the ground.
Tell you what, he got some nice spurs on him. Got some hook to him. What's that, 3.5-year-old probably?
Oh,
What do you think?
Probably a 4.
4? Is that right? He got a nice beard on him too. I mean, he probably got a 10-inch beard. Oh, big body turkey, man. Good land.
Big old fan on him.
I tell you what, these turkey thug guns, I'm gonna tell you, they're awesome guns now. They shoot a good pattern, good tight pattern. I mean, that turkey, how far that was?
Oh, he was pushing 40 yards, maybe 45.
Yeah. He was fixing to break camp. That was when I decided it was time to shoot. It rolled him over. I tell you, I'm impressed with these guns.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. I tell you what, you put us on them now. And I guess we got to,
The only way out's up.
like mountain goats again. I knew walking down we were in trouble because we're going to have to walk out. I'm going to tell you what.
Let's head him for the truck.
All right, I'm going to get you to tote the bird.
I'll get
Hey, that's all I can do to get up the hill.
We had a big time. I think Perry got a little charged up with that turkey coming in. He was sitting kind of back a little bit and yelping a little bit too, and he got a little excited. It was a fun hunt. Fun to hunt with people that really like the turkey hunt, that enjoy the sport.
Section 1, question 11.
Is it easier to call a gobbler uphill or downhill?
To me, I would rather call one uphill.
Bob Walker, the sniper.
You know, you try to, but a lot of times you just can't get there. And I've called turkeys both ways, downhill and uphill. To me, uphill is a little easier. They can't really see. Downhill, they feel like they can see everything. And if it's wide open, you know, hardwoods or pine either, they can see a little better. If you're on top, he's got to come up there to look and see that. Uphill would probably be the easiest to me.
Mossy Oaks Turkey Thugs is also brought to you by Ram Truck Brand, Quaker Boy, Weaver Optics, Walker's Game Ear, Biologic, and by Mossy Oak Brand Camo.
Section 1, question 11.
Is it easier to call a gobbler uphill or downhill?
Now that's a tough question for a Florida boy that hunts flatwoods.
Keith Kelley, the Swamper.
I haven't hunted a whole lot in the mountains, so what little bit I have, actually had an opportunity to hunt in Iowa last year where it was pretty, I don't know if you call them mountains, but hilly. We actually called the turkey down the hill and then back up the hill. So I'm not sure which works better, but in my part of the world, that's not an issue.
Second day of our hunt, the first fly down we got to hunt because of the rain on the first day. And so we snuck into where they'd been kind of strutting the day before, the afternoon before, and got up and snuck in, and they had moved their roost just a few trees.
We had stopped kind of in the place where we had set up the day before. Just was sitting there listening, and John told us, he said, "Y'all be quiet, be quiet." He said, "I hear a turkey drumming."
All of a sudden, we're set up, maybe 50 yards from those birds and right at eye level because they were down the ridge a little ways and we were on top of the ridge. And
I could see the turkey up in the tree, and he was probably 60 yards from us, and he finally got down a little bit lower, and I said, "Well, he's fixed to fly down," and I said, "He's gonna be right in our lap." And when they pitched down, they pitched right down to where we set up the morning before. And I said, it's just hard to, you're not going to outsmart one of these birds. He said, you think you got them outsmarted, you're losing.
Call Thug with Chris Kirby.
Chris, why do so few people use a wing bone and a tube call?
Probably because we've made it a lot easier, and over decades of time, we've evolved into new, bigger, better calls.
Right.
You know, the Native Americans, that's what they used, wing bones. That's what they had at the time. They made do with what they had. It's not necessarily the easiest call to use, but it is effective. It can be effective. The tube call, I always have one with me, Bob.
Right.
I mean, it's just a call that you get that latex sound. It can be really loud. You can cover some ground with it. It's a sound that not a lot of turkeys have heard.
Right.
So, you know, I think without question, the fact that we've come up with so many new, better designs made it easier for the turkey hunter to go into the woods with. They steer clear of a tube call because it is a little tricky to use.
That's right.
But it's worth the effort, trust me. The wing bone, will it kill turkeys? Absolutely. But we just have bigger and better calls nowadays.
That's right. I agree. Totally. It's easier.
Absolutely.
Call Thug, brought to you by Turkey Thug Calls, powered by Quaker Boy.
An opportunity came up to go out this morning with another pro staffer that lives in the area here.
Knew there was birds out there, and I was really surprised on how many more there actually were than I thought. So.
Yeah, we pulled up to it. It was a dairy farm there, and it was just big, huge cornfields.
This was our last day of an hour hunt. We've got, I think, 3 or 4 turkeys gobbling back toward our east. We'll see this cornfield and spend a little time here. I think we'll be able to get harvest one today.
You know, got to calling at these turkeys. We had like 4 behind us and 2 to our right, and then there was one way off to our left. After he hit the ground, he gobbled at us 3 or 4 times, and I said, well, you know, John, this turkey's coming, so we better get situated to...
I think he's coming over here. You hear him spit?
I guess it'd been maybe 10 minutes. John told me, he said, Bubba, I can see him. He's up on the top of the hill, and he's right out in the middle of the field coming toward us. It wasn't but a few minutes, I could see him, and he was just spitting and drumming. You could hear him out there about 80 yards.
Section 2.
Question 11.
Are you superstitious when it comes to hunting?
I try not to be, but I think about it all the time, and I think that's because I hunted with Cuz so much. He is so bad at it. He's so superstitious. I can't help it. Yeah, I'm superstitious.
No.
No. Some people are, but I've just never been that way, and so no. Not really. No, I don't go with all the owls flying in the daytime and all that stuff. Don't bother me.
A little. I'm not a diehard superstition, but yeah, a little bit.
Section 1, question 11.
Is it easier to call a gobbler uphill or downhill?
I think if it is easy, I would say downhill.
Greg Briggs, the hammer.
Up on a hill, looking down, you just have a better view of everything below you, opposed to the bottom of the hill looking up. So I think that's turkey has a big advantage coming down to where he can see a lot more and not run into any dangers. He just has a better view coming down than going up. So I would say downhill would be easy.
Covered probably 65, 70 yards in about 2 minutes, just full strut. He was just walking fast, coming in, strutting and spitting. We sat there and the turkey, I don't think he saw us, but the situation wasn't right. He came out of his strut and just, like he'd seen a booger or something, and it was just right over the shoulder. This is some of the best footage we've put together. I think it's great. We harvested the bird, and it's the last morning. We got to leave. We've got like a 13-hour drive home.
But look at this big old fan right there.
That's a pretty bird.
That is.
Look how big it is.
You know, there's a lot of pretty turkeys, you know, in Florida and everything else, but those Easterns, man, a lot of
mature Eastern is hard to beat.
got a lot of nice color in them.
Yeah. Well, let's pick this thing up and let's get going. We got to leave out of here today. So. Really looking forward to coming back, but I'm going to call Jet before I do, because I want to get permission to get on that flat ground next year.
Once we get these outdoor adventures going with the troops, especially turkey hunting, we got to keep it going. We can't let them down. They didn't let us down.
For more information about the Outdoor Recreation Heritage Fund, visit pvaheritagefund.org.